When is the last time that you had a solo day? My mid-20s have confirmed to me that my favorite person to hang out with is, well, myself. I used to feel a bit insecure about this, but I've come to realize that it's most important to love your own company because the only guaranteed person you'll have in life is yourself. And one of the best cities for a solo day is New York City. So today we'll be hitting two of my favorite areas of the city that are perfectly and conveniently next to one another, Chinatown and Soho. So I pop a seat on the subway headed downtown, and I already know that this is going to be a good solo day because the moment I step out of Canal Street in Chinatown, the sun is beaming and I am soaking the warmth in. Sunscreen-infused moisturizer is a must for these moments, and it wouldn't be a Bad Buddy city crawl without some good eats. So step one, of course, is finding something delicious to munch on in Chinatown. So Chinatown is a mecca for cheap eats in the city, and this spot has been on my list for some time. We're at Meiwa Fast Food, and from the first step in, I knew I was in a legit spot. With the chaotic buzz of multiple workers behind the counter, some pan frying, some scooping, and Mandarin flying all around, I already knew what I was getting before I even came in. The pork chop over rice. So the thing is, my Mandarin is not close to perfect at all, and as I ordered amongst the craziness of the workers dealing with 3 other customers at the same time, I honestly couldn't tell if they heard if I wanted chicken or pork. In the moment, I really didn't know if I was going to get exactly what I had hoped for. Like, I did ask them a few times to confirm, but it's one of those spots where you ask them something and they nod their head yes at you, and you can't tell if it's really yes or it's like a please stop bothering us. But $8 in cash later, and yes, just $8. Oh yeah, definitely do not forget your cash if you're visiting Chinatown, as most cheap eat spots are cash only. Luckily for me, when I turned the corner, this newspaper stand was calling out to me, mainly because it was bright yellow and I couldn't miss it, but it did have a flat top, and I couldn't think of a better alternative nearby, so newspaper stand it is. And look at this hunky pork chop. I am happy to confirm that my order was indeed correct, and man, was it savory goodness, from the juicy pork to the tangy mustard greens and the black pepper gravy, which brought it all together. And yes, can confirm, it's definitely a must add. The wind, though, was clearly not cooperating with me and letting me enjoy my meal. Very windy. So good thing the portion was so big. I was still able to chow down a few big, really meaty bites, but then also save some for later in a much less windy environment where I could enjoy it a little bit more thoroughly. So with a full belly, we passed from Chinatown to Little Italy in order to get to Soho. And of course, I have to stop and admire some of the street decor, like this giant cannoli. Pro tip about Little Italy, so yes, big fan of Italian food, but beware of the scams that you'll see on the main streets of Little Italy. If there's checkered tablecloth and overly salesy men, don't go in there to eat a meal. Okay, the primary reason we're in Soho is for a tattoo appointment. This is in no way my first rodeo. I do have a handful of tattoos, but I actually haven't gotten one in 3-4 years, so it's been a while. And I'd never imagined I'd actually be getting an essentially free tattoo because I'm a content creator at Leah's Traveling, so they're giving me one in exchange for a video. So we're at Tiny Zaps in Soho. Known for, as the name says, tiny tattoos that are relatively affordable that come from a book of pre-existing designs. My appointment was for 1 p.m., and by the time I got there, they let me know they were running behind. So they just said to go around and explore the area, and they'd let me know when they were free, which, I'm very happy to do. And that meant more content to create and more videos to capture. If Chinatown is synonymous with cheap eats, Soho is synonymous with shopping, and window shopping through colorful boutiques is one of my favorite activities in the city. So right down the street was Mure and Grand, and I know my high school self would have been all over this store, from the endless amount of rings, to the colorful jewelry, to the cute perky little clothing. And a shopping trip is even better when there's a specific piece of clothing that really makes you feel seen. The tattoo shop wasn't ready for me yet, but that was totally okay because on my Google Maps, I actually had another jewelry store that had been saved on my want-to-go for some time and was only a couple minutes down the street further into Soho. So we are at Dalbit for more jewelry and apparel, and do you ever have that experience where you've had something saved on your want-to-go list for the longest time, but don't really remember why or when you saved it? That was my experience here. I was very much into the jewelry selection, but had no clue why this store in particular was on my list, but it did allow me to remove the shop from my want-to-go list, and so that's satisfying in itself. And right as I'm leaving, I get a text that Tiny Zaps is ready for me, so I had chosen my desired design ahead of time, and the next step was all about sizing and placement, which for someone who has choice paralysis like me is not an easy feat. Many of my tattoos are essentially cultural good luck symbols, and this continued that trend. I came in pretty confident about how I wanted the tattoo to look and where it'd land, but when you get to the shop and start placing the stencils actually all over your body, a million questions race around in my brain, like did I want it smaller, bigger, spaced out, or close together? But ultimately, this new tattoo friend was going to be a dainty one. So more excitement than nerves was starting to swarm my body now that I felt good about the size and placement. And what's even more exciting about this tattoo is that it's my first color tattoo in red, hence why I had little strawberry cats in red for moral support on my shirt. So the tattooing process itself feels like little kitten scratches. Like I actually find it quite relaxing and have had experiences almost fully zoning out. And a quick 15 to 20 minutes later, my arm is a whole new person. While I let my new tattoo heal and make sure it doesn't see the sun, we're on to more coordinated content capture. So I'm working with Kolkata Chai to highlight their new at-home chai mix for Bao Buddy, my other account about Asian eats. And the scheduling couldn't have been more perfect because their cafe is right around the corner from the tattoo shop. So fun fact, I grew up in a part of New Jersey that has a very large Indian population, so anytime I eat Indian food or drink masala chai, I actually feel very, very nostalgic. So chai is a spiced milky tea beverage originating from India that's typically made with black tea leaves, milk, and a blend of aromatic spices like cinnamon, cardamom, ginger. It is one of my favorite cozy beverages, so if you haven't tried it from an authentic Indian-owned cafe, please go get some, especially on a cold day. I especially feel like a top-tier solo day itinerary in the city requires at least one cafe pit stop, so this was mine, and once I was done filming the shots I needed for my TikTok video, I wanted to round out the solo day and let myself truly and finally relax. I have this tendency to force myself to do activity after activity while also filming content to justify that I spent my afternoon successfully. But lately, I've also been trying to remind myself that I am human, and humans are like a battery, which means we need time to recharge. So thank you to my Kindle and new cup of chai for helping me to do that.